Hey, thanks for making it to Veterans Info Tap. I'm glad you made it. I have some exciting news regarding mental health conditions, the rating schedule that I believe is going to be more advantageous for veterans and could potentially warrant increases for many veterans out there, either moving from a 30 to a 50 or a 50 to a 70 or a 70 to a 100% rating. Will it happen for everybody? No, of course not. But I think that it definitely opens up the doorway for folks to use the information that's available, work with their provider to document the necessary information so that way they can file a claim that is evidence based, right? And has all of your T's crossed and I's dotted to warrant a better rating. Now, with that, there is a new date that has been scheduled for this change. I wanted to jump into it with you here, talk about what the VA has done so far with regard to this change. Now, remember, these things take time. The VA is changing all their rating schedules. They've changed many of them, probably 70% or so of the rating schedules have already been changed, and over the past 7 years. The last one, which was digestive systems, took 5 years from the publication of the proposal to the actual inaction date. Took 5 years. So we're at about 2.5 years now from the actual proposal date. And so, I mean, it can happen anytime. It's hard to say. So let's jump into it. I'm going to give you a little where we were, where we are, and where we're going with regard to this change and some little insights. So stick with me through this. Here's the thing. The two asks are really, look, hit the thumbs up and let the video run. Those two things alone help to push the information to all of our brothers and sisters who need to know about this, and it introduces the channel to other folks that may not have seen it yet to help grow the channel and get the word out even more. Many hands make light work. It's a collective effort. Can't do it by myself. It's all of us working together. So I thank you so much. If you want to support the channel in other ways, please consider being a member. You can do that by going to the home page. You'll see highlighted members and a join button. Thank you so much for all of your support. I truly appreciate it. All right, so let's jump into it. Back in February of 2022, the VA pushed out, I think they did two, kind of news releases, press releases on their website regarding this. And that the title was, on one of them, was VA proposes updates to disability rating schedules for respiratory, auditory, and mental disorder body systems. This came out February 15th, 2022. I'm just going to scroll down to the part that has to do with mental health, and we will go from there. So, moving on through this news release, it goes on to say the proposed rules for mental health conditions would increase the minimum disability rating from a 0% to a 10. So they're eliminating the 10% rating option, although I don't think there's, I mean, there might not even be anybody. I mean, fine, maybe there's a handful of people that have a 0, but anyway, they're removing that as even an option. So they're deleting that 0% and pushing it to a 10. The rule would get rid of the dated part of the rating schedules that prevents a veteran from getting 100% rating for a mental health condition if they're able to work. That's pretty important. Now, I'm not saying, because again, the VA tries to be the same for every situation. I'm sure there's people out there that have 100% PTSD and they're actually working, and it is what it is. But I also am sure that there are people out there that are working and the rater saw that they held a job or whatever it was, and then they rated them at a 70 instead of 100 because of the wording in the rating schedule. So there's that. So in any case, the VA has recognized that there may be some wording in the rating schedule, the current rating schedule, that could prevent folks from getting 100% if they're able to work. So they're getting rid of that. That's a good thing. VA will ensure veterans get the compensation they need and deserve, especially when it comes to mental disorders. Under the proposed changes, VA plans to use new evaluation criteria to more accurately capture the different domains of impairment caused by mental disabilities and provide more adequate compensation for financial losses experienced by veterans with service-connected mental disorders. Rather than assigning an evaluation based on the number and type of symptoms present, these changes would evaluate mental disorders based on how impactful the disability is across 5 domains of impairment: cognition, interpersonal interactions and relationships, task completion, life activities and navigating environments, and self-care. That's the 5. Okay, so now instead of having one big bucket of a bunch of different signs and symptoms, right, and you're getting rated from that, they go, okay, look, let's have 5 different buckets and see how bad it is for you in these buckets. Okay, and you're going to see why that's important here in a minute. I am going to now jump over to the Federal Register, where the VA has embedded what the rating schedule would look like for a veteran with a mental health condition once this thing goes into effect. So it says here under section C, assigning a disability rating. Once an adjudicator determines the level of impairment of functioning for each domain caused by a mental disorder, VA would assign an evaluation of 10, 30, 50, 70, or 100% for the disorder based upon the numerical value of each domain and the number of domains affected. VA would assign the following ratings based upon the following criteria. Okay, so one of the things they talked about was level of impairment. The VA has determined that there should be a scale of essentially 5, right? So it's a 0 through 4. So it's five digits, right? 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So that is your levels of impairment. 0 is just absolutely nothing. And 4 is completely 100% debilitating. Okay? Now, if we look here in this and understand we have 5 domains, you have 5 areas in which you can be given a level of impairment, right? So those 5 domains, each one of those 5 domains gets assigned a number, a 0 through 4. Completely not affected, completely debilitating, affected, right? Once you have those for each one of those domains that I read off, then the VA is going to look at those and go, okay, let's see where you fall on the rating schedule. So in order to get 10%, it's basically you would have to be at least, or you would have to pretty much be zeros, except for 1. You could have 1 1 and all zeros in all 5 of your domains, right? So 4 zeros and a 1 for your 5 domains and your 10%. Once you get to 30%, what they want to see is they want to see that you have a level 2 impairment. Remember, it's a 0 through 4. 2's basically in the middle, right? So a 2, excuse me, man, I'm messing this up. All right, so to get a 30%, they want to see you at a level 1, in 2 domains. Okay, so 2 of the 5 domains must be a level 1. That seems pretty reasonable to obtain. A 50% rating would require a level 2 impairment in 1 domain. So you see the difference between a 30 and a 50. A 30 needs 2 domains that have a 1. A 50% needs only 1 domain needs to have a 2 impairment, which means all your other domains could be 0. You follow me? You could have, of your 5 domains, 1 is like, yeah, this one really bothers me. You know, I'm a level 2 in this domain. The other 4, I'm completely functional, right? You would be rated at 50% if you have a 2 level of impairment in 1 of the 5 domains. Now, for the next 2, a 70% and a 50%, or I mean 70 and 100%, 70 and 100%, they have 2 options to get that rating. So one option for a 70% is that you have a 3 level of impairment in 1 domain. All the rest could be zeros, for example. So a 3 in 1 domain for a 70%, Or let's say you don't have a 3. You have 2, level 2 impairment because you don't have any 3s. You have level 2 impairment in 2 or more domains. So if you have a 2 in 2 or more domains, then you're at 70%. Moving to 100%, again, it has 2 opportunities to obtain 100%. If you have a 4 in 1 domain, you're 100%. If you're a level 4. Now remember, that's debilitating, 100% just not functioning in that domain, right? Or let's say you don't have any 4s, right? Let's say you have 3s. If you have 2-3 level of impairment, if you have a level 3 impairment in 2 domains, a level 3 in 2 domains, then you're at 100%. So, it's really going to be about having that conversation with your provider. Now, I'm going to give my kind of thoughts on that here in a minute. I'm going to bounce over to the last piece here with the date, the new effective date. And for mental health, I'm on the Office of Information and Regulatory Affairs, Office of Management and Budget from the Executive Office of the President on reginfo.gov. And it states here the title, Schedule of Rating Disabilities for Mental Disorders. Goes on a paragraph about all of that. And then it shows action items and dates. It shows that essentially they submitted this through the Federal Register and all that good stuff, proposed the rule back in February 15th, 2022. They closed the comments period April 18th, 2022. And now they have moved the final action date from, I believe it was June 2024 is what it used to be. Now they've kicked it down the road 10 months to April of 2025. Does it mean that it's going to go into effect in April of 2025? No, it's a placeholder. But who's to say that it's not going to happen earlier or later? It does mean, though, that somebody is watching and paying attention and they're kicking this down the road, and eventually it's going to go into effect. Remember that the last one, digestive systems, took 5 years from proposal to enacting. So 5 years is a long time. We're at about 2.5 now. So we'll just keep an eye on this as we progress. Now, the couple things I want to mention here: if you have a mental condition that you feel is service connected and you are not rated with the VA, don't wait. File now and get your service connection done. That's number one. Okay, if you're not currently rated for a mental health condition, go get rated for it. Number two, if you're currently rated for a mental health condition at whatever rating, there's 2 things that are going to happen for you. One, you're going to be grandfathered into whatever you already have. So it would only make sense to file for it if you file for an increase if you feel as though you're going to win it. If you don't feel you're going to win it for whatever reason, then you're grandfathered in and you're fine where you are. Now, that's the 2 options for if you're already rated, right? You're either going to file for an increase or you're going to feel like you shouldn't or you can't, so you don't, right? Those are the 2 things. If you're currently in the military and you're getting ready to get out, you can file a BDD claim between the 3-month and 6-month period from your exit date, not your terminal leave date, but your actual exit date. And filing that BDD claim will help as well. Now, if history repeats itself here, the VA gave us a 2-month-ish heads up on the implementation of the digestive system rating schedule change through a press release, news release thing. So hopefully we'll get that again and we'll be able to make sure that we're working forward. What would I do today if I knew that they are targeting April of 2025, which is not that far away? I mean, it's about 8 months. 8 months away. What would I do if I knew that the target date for implementation was 8 months from now and I have all the information that I have today? I would work with my provider, whether it's a psychiatrist, psychologist, counselor, whatever, and I would work with them with regard to really outlining my 5 domains and letting them know that you know, I want to make sure that I document the severity so I can make sure that I'm rated appropriately with the VA, and I just want to make sure that I document this stuff correctly. You know, it's these 5 domains. Here they are. I wrote them down. I just want to figure out what the severity is in a level of 0 through 4 in each one of these. If you're seeing a VA provider, you know, it's basically going to be that conversation and having them input that information in, asking them, can you please put that in my records? You might be able to communicate through online sources as well with your provider, and you can put that type of stuff in there as well. But you really want to work on documenting the severity, right? The level of impairment for the 5 domains, and work with your provider on that. If it's an outside of the VA provider, same thing, same conversation, but you could probably work with them a little more to help with the evidence of your claim, such as making sure that it's in your medical records with them, but also asking them to write a letter explaining that they have you know, treated you for the condition for the last however many years, and you know, over those years, blah blah blah, some kind of like a Nexus Letter almost, and that they've seen you for these different things. And you know, with regard to the VA's 5 levels of domain as listed below, they feel as though your level of impairment is through a 0 through 4 scale, this, and this for the 5 domains. Then you can submit that as evidence with your VA claim. And then you just need to make sure that you're having that same conversation with the CMP examiner to ensure that you're hitting the right numbers, and you're making sure that you have all of the right information for your claim. You should be able to know, working with your provider, your level. I mean, it doesn't seem like they should keep that from you. What is my level of impairment? You know, what do you think that level of impairment is on a 0 through 4? 4 being completely debilitating and 0 being non-issue. If they tell you, for example, well, I think you're a 2 in this domain, and your other 4 are all 1s, then you know that you're a 50% rated a veteran, right? And if you know that you're 50% rated based on the new schedule, and if you're already rated and you're already rated at 50, well, then you know you probably don't bother filing a claim. But if you're currently rated at 30% and they tell you that you know, you're a 2 in 2 domains, right? You're a 2 in 2 domains and your other 3 are 1s, and you're currently rated at 30%, well, now you have a good opportunity to get to 70%, because 70% rating requires, in this example, a level 2 impairment in 2 or more domains. So if you have that, personally, I would go after that if I'm not already at 100%. So just things to think about and be ready for, and you can start that process now. You have enough information to start working with your provider on the 5 domains. Remember, the 5 domains are cognition, interpersonal interactions and relationships, task completion, life activities and navigating environments, and self-care, right? So that's your 5 domains. All right, with that, thank you so much for watching. I appreciate each and every one of you. Have a great one, and remember, if we don't take care of each other, something went wrong.